I'm Daniel, and today I'll be talking about lab safety. Lab safety starts before you walk into the lab. When you're writing your lab report, the final section you'll complete is the safety hazards section. In this, you'll go to the safety data sheet online and you'll search up your chemical. This will list the potential dangers of dealing with this chemical. This is important because a lot of chemicals that we'll use in the organic chemistry lab is flammable, cancerous, and can lead to respiratory harm. So it's always important before walking to the lab to know what potential dangers you have when working with your reagents. When entering the lab, it's always important to wear your PPE. This includes your lab coat, your gloves, and your glasses. It is also important to note that you need long pants and closed-toed shoes. The importance of this is for multiple reasons. As aforementioned previously, we work with dangerous chemicals in the organic chemistry lab. A lot of these can lead to eye harm, respiratory harm, or can be corrosive to the skin. So, in preparation for that, we wear lab coats to protect our clothes, long pants to protect our legs, and closed-toed shoes to protect our feet from these chemicals. Additionally, we need these gloves for when we're dealing with these chemicals that we don't spill some accidentally on our skin. Additionally, these glasses are very needed just in case a reagent accidentally gets into your eyes. This is your first line of defense. When we're dealing with strong acids, it's always important to wear gloves. So here we have a bottle of sulfuric acid, which you'll work with quite often in the organic chemistry lab. And this is just a pipette that we're using. Let's say we're transferring the sulfuric acid into a beaker, and I accidentally get some on my glove. When this happens, the first thing that you're gonna do is take off your gloves. You'll throw them away. You'll come to the sink, wash your hands, and then while you're washing your hands, you should let your instructor know that you accidentally poured some sulfuric acid onto your hands. Additionally, if I were to get any reagent or chemical in my eyes, you can come to these here, and then of course, take off your glasses. I'm not gonna start this in the video, but you'll hold this down and water will start coming into your eyes. That's why it's always important to wear your PPE. When in the organic chemistry lab, it is never a good idea to have food or drink when you're working. As you can see, we have dangerous chemicals around us on a regular basis. The potential for said reagent to get into your food or drink is plausible. As mentioned, these reagents can be cancerous, they can be dangerous to your respiratory system. So overall, it's a terrible idea to have food and drink while working in the organic chemistry lab. Backpacks should be put away at the front of the room. They should never be here in the organic chemistry lab. This is for two reasons. Number one, if I'm working with chemicals, I don't want to accidentally trip over my backpack or my lab mate's backpack while I'm working with these chemicals. Secondly, this poses a fire hazard. If there is a fire in this room and we all need to leave, these potentially can cause risk of people falling and tripping in the state of emergency. So, when you have your backpack, follow me, you will put them away when you enter the lab by putting them on these hooks right over here.
Today I'll be showing you how to use the balance beam. First, you want to start by closing one of the doors to not allow air to come in, and then you want to put your plate, and once you can see that it starts weighing it, so you want to make sure you zero this to allow to get correct measurements for your substance. You then want to grab your substance and very carefully put it in. It's okay to go a little bit over or under, but make sure not to go too much over. And then you want to close your door and wait a little bit till it rates it. The chemical we work with can be hazardous. There is a problem with smelling or accidentally tasting or falling in your eyes. So you always want to make sure that your fume hood is not fully closed or fully open, but just enough for where your hands can work in. And when you're working with the liquid chemical, you're gonna come over to the reagent hood, which is right over here. And here you'll find every reagent that you'll be using for your experiment. You never want to remove the chemicals out of the hood because of the dangers that they present. So you want to just go ahead here, open it, grab your pipette, squeeze, get your chemicals, and you're done.
What's that smell? Daniel, did you fart?
Always be aware that chemicals in the lab will have a very ugly smell. You never want to sniff it or waft it. Always keep it in the hood and don't care for the smell. Fun fact, wafting is actually outdated in the lab safety.
All of the experiments will take place in the fume hood. This is for a few reasons. The fume hood is like a big ventilation system. Whenever you heat a reaction, it'll produce fumes and vapors. You don't want to breathe those in, so the fume hood sucks them up so you don't breathe them in. This protector moves up and down so you can reach in and have your hands in there to do the experiment. As you'll see, there's this mark at 18 inches. You never want the fume hood to go above there. If the fume hood is above there, all the vapors will come out here, and there's no point of even doing the reaction in the fume hood. It'd be like you stuck your head in there.
Okay. Got that. Just gotta make sure I have everything.
That's a very unorganized fume hood. This is what your fume hood should look like. You should only have the necessary glassware you need for the experiment. I find it helpful as your reaction is going to pre-weigh all of your glassware. You don't want to mix up your dirty glassware with your clean glassware. So once you finish cleaning it, I like to set it aside on the other side of my hot plate, so I know clean is on the right and dirty is on the left. A hot plate and a cold hot plate look the same. When you turn it off, it doesn't say it's on, but it's still very hot. So a good tip, so you don't burn your hand, hover over the hot plate to see if you feel some heat. This is hot glass. This is cold glass. You can't tell the difference, so always be careful when picking up glassware to make sure it's not hot. To finish your experiment, you want to clean the fume hood. We do this with the water and acetone mixture and a paper towel. What you do is you just squirt the water acetone mixture onto the bench like this. You take your paper towel, just rub it around like that. Acetone evaporates quickly, so it dries very fast.
We talk a lot about using proper glassware, but how do you determine if your glassware is fit for using? Well, before you start your experiment, you're going to want to inspect it for any holes, cracks, chips, or just to make sure that it's actually clean. Ew, gross. If you encounter broken glass at any point, you're going to want to notify your instructor, and with their supervision and their permission, you are going to want to dispose of the glass properly. Now, once you have the glass, the proper place to dispose of it is not actually in the trash. See, that could cut somebody when they take it out. What you want to do is find the glass disposal kit located at the front of the lab and safely dispose of your glass into that bin. Now, when you find that piece of glassware that isn't broken, chipped, or dirty, you can go ahead and use it. But when you're finished with it, you're going to want to place your waste in a specified waste beaker and clean it with the provided acetone so that it actually becomes clean. Once it's clean, you can hang it out to dry. With your organic waste, you're not going to dump it into the sink, into the Denver water supply. That wouldn't be great. What you're going to do is place it into these organic waste tubes that we have provided in the lab. Safe.